Today, let's talk about admission to the soul spa. Admission to the soul spa. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know, recognize, understand that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Have y'all ever heard that verse before? Be still and know that I'm God. Is that one of your favorite verses? Or do you read that verse and immediately go, oh man, here we go. How hard is it for us to be still? Okay, my question is going to be, why is it so hard for us to be still? Do you think that where we are is what God originally planned? Or in his plan and his design, this should be easier than it actually is to us these days? Let's read some other versions of this. Our God says, calm down and learn that I am God. All nations on earth will honor me. The last part of this is kind of something that I've been thinking about, and I'm like, why is that included in there? Why does it matter that you will be exalted on the nation, you will be exalted on the earth, that all the nations on the earth will honor me? That's something that you can only discover when you understand who God really is. And you can't get to that point until you get yourself quiet in order to see him that way. But you're talking to the guy, you're spending time with the guy that is ruler over everything, creator over everything. He knows everything about everything. I heard somebody say one time, here I sit like a bumbling fool doing all the talking in a conversation with a person that knows everything, describing many of our prayer lives. Here I'm doing all the talking and you're the person that knows everything about everything. So it would probably do me good to shut up and listen occasionally to what you've got to tell me rather than me just tell you what needs to occur. He says, be still and quiet. Understand that I am God. I rule as king over the nations. All the world will say that I am great. Be in awe and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted throughout the earth. Stand silent. Know that I am God. I will be honored by every nation in the world. Step out of the traffic. There's a good one. Step out of the traffic. Take a long, loving look at me, your high God, above politics, above everything. That kind of puts things in perspective. The message again. I love it when it slaps me in the face. Let go of your concerns. Then you will know that I am Elohim. I rule the nations. I rule the earth. That's cool. Stop striving and know that I'm God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted on the earth. Surrender your anxiety. Be still and realize that I'm God. I am God above all the nations, and I am exalted throughout the whole earth. Now, you notice some of these verses say, I will be exalted. And then some of them say, I am exalted. Which is it? It's both. Whether we know it or not, he is still ruling the earth. Maybe not as actively as he will be at one point, but he is still the ruler. And he wants that territory to expand ever increasingly until he actually assumed rulership over all of it. There are a couple of versions that say cease striving. There are a few that say stop fighting. Where do you suppose all this activity originates? All this stuff that we need to be still from, all this stuff that we need to stop, all this stuff that we need to cease doing, where did that all originate? From the earth, okay. From your soul. From us trying to be in control. So when God designed it, it wasn't meant to be like that. He was supposed to be in charge, and he's supposed to convey to you what's supposed to occur. And then you're just supposed to do what he said. Adam fell, got us into this whole situation, and what happened? We assumed rulership. We assume leadership. We assume control of our own lives. Fool with what God wants to do. Don't have time for that. Who cares?
So that it's gonna do it, how he's gonna do it. Like we have to surrender.
Right. And then someone asked, okay, if he's going to do it, how does that involve me? Well, he wants you to have a part in him doing what he's going to do. But if you refuse, he'll find somebody else. He's going to use a person or people to get this done. And you have the option of being on that team or not being on that team. Absolutely.
I was doing in-home healthcare very hard for a living. And I wanted to go home on vacation. I was all cleaned out. He just kept saying, "Be still and know that I'm God." I got on this man. I was tired. But in that's all I kept hearing for weeks. Be still and know that I'm God. But me and myself decided I was going to go anyway. I got to Wichita Falls, got on the wrong bus. My luggage got lost. Never recovered it. Got home, it was the worst trip ever. My family treated me poorly, like it was just so bad. Like I don't
Wow.
know to go home. Having clothes, nobody was helping me. It was like hard. So anyway, I ended up getting back home and that's when he was just like, you know,
I told you so. Yeah.
but his grace, his love, his mercy toward me replaced everything I lost, and I'm not kidding.
That's awesome.
Like, her daughter called and said, "Hey, I'm down to Mary Kay."
Wow.
Down to Mary Kay, have 30 years. Down to the blow dryer. I can only use a certain type of blow dryer for my curls. The blow dryer.
Awesome.
You know, those are some of the things I lost were sentimental. So, but this was less than. So I'm like, okay, so I've learned, if God says no, it's no. If he says no, go. I mean, so I'm making because that's what he showed me. He's in control.
Right. And loves you to that degree and loves you to that detail. Individually, specifically, things that are only pertinent to you, only relevant to you. Absolutely. Okay, all these activities, all these things, stop doing this, cease doing this, be still. Is he just talking about, okay, I'm going to stand still? Is that what he's saying? What is he telling you to be still? Quit your thinking, quit your analysis, quit your anxiety, quit your worrying, quit your planning, quit all that junk that you're doing in your head. It's not necessarily about physical. The physical follows what thoughts you're thinking, what you're doing in your mind.
That would be the only thing.
Do you have something else?
I think fear.
Fear? Okay.
Fear is not trusting God. Because if we trust God, we know He's in control. He's going to take care of us and everything. Glorious riches of Jesus Christ. There's 7 redemptive names of God. Jehovah Tsidkenu, his righteousness. Jehovah Shalom, he is our peace. Jehovah Shammah, he is everywhere. We cannot go anywhere he is not. Jehovah Raha, he is our shepherd. Shepherds provide everything for the sheep. Jehovah Nisi, he is the banner over us. He goes before us. He prepares our way. He fights our battles. Jehovah Rapha, he is our healer. And there's no time on that. And Jehovah Jireh, he is our provider. So when you read those 7 predictive names, that's and there's, I think, hundreds of names. I only know about 50 that I've studied. But those 7 redemptive names cover everything.
Okay, in the scheme of this, in the scheme of these verses, there was in the way I read this, there's part 1, which is be still. And then and only then you get to part two, which is know, understand, learn, experience. Can you get to phase two without doing phase one? I'm not saying God can't do something, but by and large, the pattern is you've got to go through step one, which is you choosing to make yourself quiet. You choosing to still your mind, to still your emotions, to still your thoughts, your worries, your concerns, before you get to know who God really is. What is the conflict there? Why do you have to still yourself first? What are you stilling yourself from? The thoughts of the world, control. You're trying to be God's replacement. So before he can assume the throne, before he can assume the place that he really deserves, we have to decide, I am not in charge of my own life. I'm going to stop acting like I am. I'm going to stop thinking like I am. I'm going to cease all this for just a moment and get my head back to the correct place of you are God. You are in charge. You're bigger than I am. You know more than I am. I give you the reins of my life, so to speak. Isaiah 26:3. Isaiah 26:3. You will keep in perfect peace and constant peace the one whose mind is steadfast, that is, committed and focused on you, both inclination and character, because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation. So the benefit is peace, constant peace, perfect peace in your life. How do you get there? Your mind has got to stay steadfast, committed, focused on him in both its inclination and its character. And then, and only then, can you get to the point where you experience this perfect, constant peace. Have you ever noticed that? That when your mind is in charge, it's often in turmoil. I mean, it's often going all sorts of different directions. There's not peace in that situation most of the time. It was not made to do that. It wasn't made to assume that position. It was made to only make decisions based upon the information that God gave it through your spirit. That person gets those benefits because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation. So it's not only a matter of me shutting my mind down, it's a matter of shifting. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm not going to concern myself with this because you are my hope, my confident expectation. I take my refuge in you. Because of those reasons, I can tell my mind, shut up, be quiet, be still. And then I can expect constant and perfect peace from God back to me about that situation or any other. Absolutely. You're fine.
Next, let's talk about Excel. I was a tax collector and we had a new tax collector. And he was like, he had us all in fear because we heard he's gonna clean up shop, he's gonna bring his own food, we're all on fire, and stuff. Well, he brought his mistress with him. We call her his secretary. Not ashamed, they were not ashamed of it, they did not hide it, they were married, she would be screwing all over his desk in front of us, like it was horrible. And he started picking us off one by one. So a friend and I took, the situation to the judge, and he was like, we're aware that he's an elected official, so there's nothing we can do about it. So my friend and I decided, you know what, let's just take this to God, let's pray, let's see, because just what to do. And the Lord said, be still, know that I'm God, and I will fight for you. And so we came to the conclusion that we were supposed to be still. We left it alone, we let it go. And a year later, I no longer worked there. A year later, my other friend called and said, did you hear the news? I said, what? The court came after him and got rid of him, So, and that's just it. It's just so any aspect of our lives, if we can trust anything. Like he said, I will fight for you. He is always in our corner, fighting for us.
But he's going to do it his way. He's going to do it on his schedule. He's going to do it through his means.
Study when he gets the name Jehovah Nissi was given during the battle of the Amalekites, where the Israelites were losing, and then they held Moses' arms up in worship, and they started winning. And the other name that God showed me is like, I gave you this name when this happened, is Jehovah Jireh. Came when they found the ram in the thicket, they were about to sacrifice, or Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac. That's complete obedience. God provided, but it was after Abraham showed complete and total obedience. And so it's not, I mean, I've learned to name some of them, some, there's tons more. But then learning where the story begins and what there's so much more, it's so rich. I'm teaching this Thursday night on the names of God.
Cool.
Myself, Danielle. So if anybody's interested, it's beautiful restoration and all. So welcome, just contact me. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm sure that'll be good. Isaiah 26:3, you will guard him and keep him in perfect and constant peace, whose mind, and it's very similar from there, but you will guard him. You will guard him. Peace is a guardian. It's supposed to be a guardian to us. You're supposed to live that way so often that you receive security from that peace. Now, doesn't that sound like a wonderful situation? I'm going to be so aware of who God is. I'm going to be so patient and waiting on him that I am guarded by the peace that I walk in. We want that. That sounds desirable to us, but are we willing to pay the admission price to get there? Are we willing to cease our thinking, to cease our worrying, to cease our control, and put our minds in a place where they're confidently expecting God to show up and show out on our behalf? You will keep the mind that is dependent upon you in perfect peace. And by and large, we aren't dependent upon him. If I have time to fit you in today, God, I will. Is that an indication of me being dependent upon him? Or is it optional at that point? And yet so many of us live there. So many of us, that's our normal routine. God, I'll get to you later today if I have time. Or if you get in trouble. After the fact. Those with sound thoughts, you will keep in peace because they trust in you. Sound thoughts. Does your mind constantly full? Is it full of sound thoughts? Or is it full of a bunch of crazy thoughts and occasionally a sound thought? A person whose desire whose desire rests on you, you preserve in perfect peace. That's a mouthful. A person whose desire rests on you, you preserve in perfect peace. Where does it start? Before you can ever get to the peace, what must happen first? Your desire must, you have desires, but what about them? Rest on you. Not on me, not on my ability to bring this to pass, not on my ability to get this done, but on your ability to do it through me, with me, sometimes even in spite of me. He will keep in perfect peace all those who trust in him, whose thoughts turn often to the Lord. Whose thoughts turn often to the Lord. I am learning that the thing that I think about is often the thing I'm trusting in. You have a bill come up unexpectedly. Where does your first thought go? Well, I don't have that in the budget right now, but I can move this over here and I can move this around and I can make this happen and we can make this work. Oh yeah, God, please help, by the way. What are my thoughts trusting in? My ability to figure this situation out, my ability to handle this, my ability to make this work, And then, okay, God, here's my plan. Now bless my plan to make this work. I cannot expect in that situation to operate in perfect peace. Because my mind is running the show. My mind is in control. Go ahead.
It shows where our faith is. So
Right.
our faith is more ourselves than it is.
Right. People with their minds set on you, you keep completely whole, steady on their feet because they keep at it and don't quit. Have you ever noticed that you can go at something longer if you're not worried about it all the time? Okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing today. God, you told me to do this, so here we go. And today was a good day. Yay. Tomorrow, it wasn't such a great day, but I'm still going to keep doing this because you told me to do it. I'm here for you. I'm here because you told me to do it. I'm here because you told me to be here, not because I think necessarily this is a great idea. A lot less worry, a lot less stress when I'm confident that you told me to be here. Lyndon's situation. The real consolation that you have at the moment is, God, I feel like you told me to be here. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. So I'm supposed to be where I'm at, and I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. All these other details are your problem. They're not my problem.
Russia or England, the places that don't allow missionaries. You're a missionary in a place that doesn't allow missionaries.
When you can still pray for them, you just up here right there and I can hear you. You can pray for them when you get home and then you are at lunch. And then sometime, I just would do that. They're gonna get better and they're gonna go, what happened?
When you're in a situation that's uncomfortable, when you're in a situation that's difficult, really the only thing that you can go back to after a period of time is, God, did you tell me to be here or not? And if you get that answer and you're clear about the answer, yes, I told you to be here. Yes, that's where you're supposed to be at the moment. It's like, okay, well, fine. Whatever happens, happens. It's not my problem. I'm doing what you told me to do. I'm doing how you told me to do it. So the results are up to you. The only thing I'm responsible for is obedience.
The best of your ability, with all the people, and all the things done, do it the way you do it. Don't let that get in you. Yeah, just forgiveness, for they know not what they do. Good.
With perfect peace, you will protect those whose minds cannot be changed because they trust in you. Now you get to the place where you're so set on what God is saying, what God is doing, He doesn't change. He doesn't shift. He doesn't alter. So if my mind is always set, it never changes. Either I totally missed it and I'm very stubborn. We'll talk about stubborn later, but either that's true or I'm right where I'm supposed to be and I'm not going to change my mind because God hadn't given me a different instruction yet. Whose minds cannot be changed. But if I'm in charge, if I'm running my own show, I get some information that says, okay, this is working great. And then I get some other information. Oh, this is working bad. I think I'll change my mind. Do you find yourself, if you're running the show, constantly changing your mind about it? Well, maybe we can try this. Maybe I'll approach it differently. Maybe I'll make this adjustment. Maybe I'll make this tweak. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I won't do it at all. You go through this whole cycle of thoughts. Your mind's all over the place because you're the one setting your course. It's exhausting.
I would like to share something.
Okay.
Try to do this briefly as possible. So I've been going through the toughest season since I've met Jesus with, the season with my job. It's been very, very difficult. They've implemented a tremendous amount of changes. I don't personally handle changes all that well. So I've tried combating these changes on my own with my own abilities, and it's failed miserably. I have moments of giving it to God, and I have those are the moments I have peace. But I have taken it back. I don't know if you call it, I don't know if you get complacent or what it is, but I have moments of peace. I'm like, okay, good, thank you, God. I think I got it. I'm gonna take the reins back, only to nosedive again. And this has been going on. It'll be a year next month. These changes have started. And once again, I'll be going through another change, July 17th. Again, that things are gonna be changing. What I'm beginning to realize that all these changes and anxieties and fears, at one point I was ready to give up. I'll be bluntly honest, I was ready to give up because I'm like, God, I don't see you anywhere in this. How could you let this happen? And, you know, but thankfully through just thank God, he instilled enough in me of his evidence that I know that was not a possibility. All this tough season and refining and everything that has happened. The bottom line, what it has caused is that I seek him in everything about this situation. I'm aware of it. Now, I mess it up fairly often, and I do. But bottom line though, when I look at the whole picture of this whole season, what it's done is caused me to seek him in this more, you know.
Right.
And I'm not talking seeking just so I can experience rest. I know I'm being taught, I am being refined, because that's thank goodness, I love men that have gone ahead of me in the Christian walk that are been at this longer than I have, who speak honestly. They're like, listen, bro, it's never gonna be easy. I mean, there's things you're gonna go through, there's gonna be trials you're gonna go through. We all want the easy road, but it's not possible. And so I thank them for speaking honestly in me. And so, but overall, it has just caused, especially learning this, that my soul wants to take the reins, and I can fix this on my own, but I can't.
Right.
And, you know, and so you mentioned before, the word for you has been finally. Well, my word that is coming to my mind is trust. I have to trust him in this process. I have to trust him that, you know, God revealed to me years ago, about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that this job is a gift. He revealed that this is a blessing for you. Do you want him to squander your blessing and throw it back in my face? You know, I'm like, no, Lord, I don't want to. And so this has been a battle of my soul and spirit over my job. And, you know, people have said, why don't you just find another job? Well, I haven't felt that. The Lord said, I have you here for a reason.
Right.
And that is to bring my kingdom into this work environment. So, anyways.
Awesome.
Thank you.
When Jesus came, when he started his ministry. And he said, that's where the revival of the church started. And I think, because you can speak more closely to somebody, because you're sitting there healing them, than John Chastain has. I've never had a personal conversation, I've never had it face to face yet, just hasn't happened. But in your work, you're speaking to people more closely.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, that's where the revival is coming.
Absolutely.
It's, the church is here to support us being missionaries. In places that don't want us.
Perfect. Absolute peace surrounds those whose imaginations are consumed with you. They confidently trust in you. So have you ever found that your imaginations sometimes go crazy? Oh, if I had all this money, I would do this and I would do this. And how much of that is around God? Or how much of that is you buying a boat and spending more time at the lake? Or whatever the case may be. Where do your imaginations go when you're in control of your imaginations? I think both of these two verses are saying the same thing. And I hope that you agree with that. You've got something to do with your soul prior to there being a benefit. And the benefit is rest. That benefit is understanding God better. That benefit is peace. But you've still got something to do with your soul first. Let's see what Jesus had to say about this idea. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who are weary and heavily burdened by religious rituals that provide no peace, and I will give you rest, refreshing your souls with salvation. Similar. Come to me, all you who are labor and heavy laden and are overburdened, and I will cause you to rest. I will ease and relieve and refresh your souls. Now we hear this, and I start to see people smile. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Awesome. Yes, that's what I want. How do I get that? How do I do that?
Not say. The dude in the back said something I didn't understand, and the pastor said that, and God was talking.
Come to me, all you who are struggling hard and carrying heavy loads. I will give you rest. Come to me, all you who are tired, weary, and have heavy loads, overburdened, heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come to me, I will give you rest. All of you who work so hard beneath a heavy yoke. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Come to me, all you who are weary and carry heavy burdens. I will refresh you. Are you having a real struggle? Come to me. Are you carrying a big load on your back? Come to me. I'll give you a rest. Are you weary, carrying a heavy burden? Come to me. I will refresh your life, for I am your oasis. Now, did the tone change just a little bit in your ears as we started reading this? To me, it was like, yes, Lord, yes, sign me up. How do I do this? Where do I put my name on that line? What is the price to pay to experience this? This is one promise in Scripture that most of us have no question about identifying with. Do you qualify? Are you burdened? Are you heavy laden? Are you worn out? Are you stressed out? Are you tired? Most of us can put both hands up and say, oh yeah, that's me. I qualify for that. Awesome. How quickly can I get in line for a second helping of this? But Jesus didn't stop there. His statement continues. So keep your excitement and let's read his next verse. Matthew 11:29-30. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Following me as my disciple, for I am gentle, humble in heart, you will find rest, renewal, blessed quiet for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear and my burden is light. Now, whoa, wait a minute. Jesus, you said I can have this rest, I can have this refreshing, you can be an oasis to me because I'm tired and worn out and heavy laden and burdened and all this stuff. But I got to do that by taking a yoke upon me. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't seem like the logical solution for the way to get to rest. Take a yoke? What are you talking about? Take a yoke? No, that's not how I want to get rest. Before we go on, let's make sure that everybody knows what a yoke is. There's a picture of a farmer using some animals, and that wooden thing around their necks is the yoke that connects the animal to the instrument, in this case, a plow. And it harnesses the animal's strength to pull the instrument forward. That's a little rough looking there, not a great picture. Here's another picture that emphasizes it a little more clearly. See the chains between the two animals? That's what connects to the plow or to the instrument that they're pulling. This thing fits around their neck, so they fit inside it. They can't really escape from it. And there's one by itself. Before we mentioned this idea of a yoke, we were talking about something that sounded like a spa. Yeah, I want to go to that spa, whatever that is. I want that. I don't think you're going to find the yoke room or treatment at any popular spa in town or around the country. This doesn't look fun at all. Growing up, I heard people talk about the business end of a shovel. Have you ever heard that expression, the business end of a shovel? We're starting talking about yokes. You can't escape the business end of a shovel and a yoke. It's the same context. It's the same connotation, the same mental image. Something is about to get serious here once we start talking about a yoke or a shovel, as the expression goes. Things are about to get serious. Things are about to get interesting. This whole conversation just took a big turn now that I realize, oh crud, to get to the spa, I've got to hook myself to the yoke. The animals wearing the yoke must move in step with each other, in total submission with the master's direction. A yoke is anything but easy, light, or freeing. Instead, it's cumbersome, annoying, and distressing. Knowing that according to Jesus, the rest comes attached to a yoke, are we as excited about receiving the treatment? Somehow our enthusiasm for this spa just changed considerably because now there's a requirement before we can actually receive the spa treatment. The rest promise is still just as real as it was before. The only difference is now that it will take some effort on our part to get there. In exchange for choosing to wear one of these wonderful restrictive contraptions, Jesus offers our soul the vocation of a lifetime. Are we willing to make that trade? So let's go back to this. Yeah.
Because I always like to do the letter Bible while you're doing your thing.
Okay.
And so when I'm just pulling it up, because the neat picture that I kind of see, because sometimes when you think of a yoke, you think, okay, it's something God's put on you. And one of the definitions in the Strong is, it says a coupling, figuratively, like in servitude. So I kind of pictured okay, I'm gonna be on one side and you're gonna be on the other, and I'm here to serve you and you're here to serve me. And then it adds to it, and then when you say, and learn from me. So rather than, when I look at it, I think instead of it's something that God wants to put on you, on yoke, I'm gonna be on one side, come join me on the other. We'll serve each other. And you can
Yes.
learn.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
good.
Partnership.
That's good.
versus,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this on you,
That's
come
nice.
partner with me, and learn what I'm doing. And you know, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I just like how it said it's a coupling. Yeah.
And that changes things too. I mean, you got two animals next to each other. You could also have a single unit yoke where it's just one animal pulling the plow or whatever, in which case God is driving the apparatus here. He's the driver. He's the farmer, so to speak. And it's different when you start talking about an animal next to each other. You still got God in the back driving stuff, but now you've got Jesus who already fulfilled this, who already did it, who already completed it successfully, who already conquered, who already won, is your partner in walking this out. And it's just a matter of, I've already done it. I've already taken Suhei to the cross. I already killed him dead. I didn't ever yield to his desires and its wishes and its longings. I never gave it control. Partner with me and I'll show you how to do it. You can learn what I did by being next to me in the process of doing it, and we'll both please the Father together. It's good. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am gentle, meek, humble, lowly in heart, and you will find rest, relief, ease, refreshment, recreation, and blessed quiet for your souls. For my yoke is wholesome, useful, good, not harsh, hard, sharp, or pressing, but comfortable, gracious, and pleasant. Now think about this. You strapped yourself into this device so that you can't move on your own. And Jesus is saying that makes it comfortable, gracious, and pleasant. Isn't that a mind shift? Because I'm restricted. I don't like being restricted. And he's saying, but if you're restricted to what I'm doing, to where I'm going, to my leading, it will end up being comfortable for you. Now, it's going to hurt initially. You don't want to yield control. You don't want to put Suhei down. You don't want to put your soul in the place where it actually belongs. It wants to stay in charge. It does not want to submit itself to this process. But in the end, comfortable, gracious, and pleasant. My burden is light and easy to be borne. I've told people before when I was praying for them, okay, if you're still carrying a bunch of stuff that makes you feel heavy and weighted down, you're carrying part of the load that you're not supposed to be carrying. God never intended for you to carry that. We were talking a while ago, Dan was talking, and I thought about the fact that churches have been doing recycling for a lot longer than it's been a popular thing. You look at me, what do you mean they've been doing recycling? There's a conveyor belt in every church that goes from the altar to the back door. And people come down and they lay their stuff down at the altar, and somehow it ends up on the conveyor belt, and it meets you at the back door for you to pick back up as you walk out of the building. We've been recycling for a lot longer than anybody else has. We're really good at it. I'm going to have the 5 minutes of freedom that it takes to pray that out and before I get to the back door, and then, okay, now I breathed a little bit. There was some nice relaxation there. I enjoyed my 5-minute break. Now it's time to go back to work. I'm going to pick this back up. We're going to carry it for next week, and then we'll repeat the whole process again. From verse 30, the word for easy is Christos, G5543. One of the meanings of that word is fit for use or useful. Its root word means to furnish what is needed. A job or a task becomes easy if you're furnished with the right and the correct tools to complete it. Have you ever been working on your car or doing something with the sewing machine and you get the right tool to adjust the screw, to do the thing that you're doing, whatever it is? You didn't have the right tool, and then you found somebody that let you borrow the right tool, or you went and bought the right tool. Hands down difference between before you had the tool versus after you had the tool. No, that's a hammer.
No, I just witnessed that yesterday, so never mind. Yeah, I witnessed someone using a rolling pin. I'm like,
Can you use a rolling pin as a hammer?
yes.
Yes. Did it work as well as a hammer would have worked? So what he's saying here is my yoke is easy. My yoke is fit for the use. I furnish you my yoke as the right tool for you to take this whole exercise on, to take this whole process, this whole task on, and get to the end result. Go ahead.
I don't know how many of you all have church. But twice now, it has brought up a daily devotional for scripture that has tied in with what Eddie's been teaching. And the other day, a few days back, Galatians 6:13, it says, share each other's burden, and in this way obey the law of Christ. And he's giving you the tools, he's giving you the words and the knowledge right there. Just follow me. Take this tool, take this yoke, and I agree. I love what you said. And describing how that is, that you just, yes, you got the creator, you're yoked to him. Let him drive the car. Yeah, I know.
And he's already done it.
Yeah.
He's been there before.
I personally just want to just take the things. But that's a lot of other things that needs to be done. I'm not making excuses, but thank goodness for the knowledge that we're being taught.
The only tool that is fit for use in giving Suhei rest, real rest, is furnished in the shape of a yoke. In verse 29, the word for take is iro, G142. One of the most interesting meanings is to raise up, elevate, or lift up. You could say exalt. Either we choose to exalt Suhei or its yoke, or his yoke, which represents his lordship, and hereby proclaim his death to the Adamic nature. So, take my yoke, exalt my yoke, or exalt Suhei. You choose. But if you choose to exalt my yoke, my tool that I'm furnishing you for this task, then you get to go to the spa. Then your soul will have a real rest. Then your soul will function properly day in, day out. Then your soul will be at the right state of awareness, the right state of alertness. It will be thinking correctly. It won't be stressed. It won't be anxious. It won't be overburdened trying to figure all this mess out. It will just be in step with the person calling the shots. With these ideas in mind, let's read this verse in a few more versions. Put on my yoke. You choose, but I'm asking you to put it on and learn from me. I'm gentle and humble. You will find rest for yourselves. My yoke is easy to bear. My burden is light. Take the yoke I give you, put it on your shoulders and learn from me. I'm gentle and humble, and you will find rest. This yoke is easy to bear and the burden is light. Do what I teach you to do. Listen to my message and learn what is true. I am very kind and do not make myself important. I will help you. Then you will have peace in your mind. I will not tell you to do things that are too difficult. I will not tell you to carry anything that is too heavy for you. Wear my yoke, for it fits perfectly. And let me teach you, for I am gentle and humble, and you will find rest your souls. For I give you only light burdens. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Follow my teachings and learn from me. I am gentle and do not have pride. You will have rest for your souls. For my way of carrying a load is easy, and my load is not heavy. You're right.
But you don't have, you can find and you will experience peace in the midst of it.
Because I trust him.
Yes.
He's going to tell me how to get through this. He's going to tell me how to navigate this. He's going to tell me what I need to do, what I don't need to do, when I need to do it, how I need to do it. He's responsible.
Instead of us carrying. No.
All I've got to do is do what he says.
Their peace in the midst of trials and knowing. So I witnessed it. Thank goodness.
It's great to have mentors that have been there before. We've got one. We're hooked to one. If you choose to stay hooked, you can do it on your own. You can do it yourself. Are you going to say that? Okay. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Put my yoke on your shoulders. It might appear heavy at first, but it's perfectly fitted to your curves. Learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble of heart. When you're yoked to me, your weary souls will find rest, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Do what I tell you to do. Learn what I teach you. I'm gentle, I'm not proud. Then your heart will rest. What I tell you to do is easy. What I give you to carry is not heavy. Simply join your life with mine. Learn my ways, and you'll discover that I'm gentle, humble, easy to please. Easy to please. Do we view God as being easy to please? Or do we have to meet all the checklist stuff and we've got all this stuff we've got to do before we ever approach pleasing him?
So
Oh, it was yet a sinner. Right?
I'm glad that that's true, but that's not true for most people.
I'm so glad that I got the drug, that I got it, that I squashed it.
But does it, go ahead.
Well, that kind of tells me that it's kind of the mindset of living in God's judgment or living in the
Grace, right. Yes. And we're past the judgment. Jesus took all the judgment. He took all of it. So we don't have to. But that doesn't mean we can't avoid the cross or the yoke. We've got to, there's still work we have to do here. It's still an ongoing process, but it comes from our relationship with him and how much we trust him in that relationship that gives us all these other benefits.
And then like the navigators. make Jesus be the one sitting on the throne,
Right.
you know? And it makes life so much easier.
You'll find that I'm gentle, humble, easy to please. You'll find refreshment and rest in me. For all that I require of you will be pleasant and easy to bear. All that I require from you will be pleasant and easy to bear. Now, wait a minute, God. I've gone through plenty of things that weren't pleasant. Were they really so unpleasant, or was your expectation maybe skewed a little bit? What confidence did you have that he told you to be there? What did you receive from him to be there? Okay, your homework from that particular verse. All these versions mention the fact that Jesus was humble. What is the connection between him being humble and our putting his yoke on our shoulders? On the opposite side, if Jesus were arrogant or prideful, how would his yoke be different than it is?
I know it's gonna be some notes.
Go ahead.
And again, in here, it's, you know, under the priest of, it has, you know, better, easy, good, like you said, but it also says gracious and kind. So no matter what I'm going through, it's pleasant in the sense of, I know that if he's walking me through it, he's gonna give me grace.
Right. Right. Right.
And his will for me is gracious and kind.
Right. And that goes against this idea of God that we have sometimes, or at least I've had the idea that, okay, you're doing this to me to test me, to just see what I'm going to do. God's always wanting to upgrade you. And the only way that he can upgrade you is for you to pass tests. But he doesn't approach the problem as, okay, today I'm going to test them. His approach is, I want to upgrade them. Are they ready for the upgrade? Absolutely. He's got to prove where you're at, to show you where you're at, to show him where you're at.
Yeah, punishments have already been done, it's all,
No, he's just upgrading.
yeah, exactly.
Getting us more prepared for whatever it is.
It seems pretty clear to me that I can't get to the soul rest without putting on the yoke. Must I do anything beyond putting on the yoke? Putting on the yoke only sets your soul in the position of yielding to the Lord. The rest comes when you actually yield. An animal that wears the yoke but still ignores the headship of the farmer trying to drive the implement still isn't helpful to the farmer. So I get I've got my choice mule out in the barnyard and I'm about to hook up the plow. I get the yoke on him, strap him to the plow, and we head out to the field. Does that mean that the mule is going to go where I tell it to? I hear some authority in that voice. Okay, the mule that doesn't want to do what I, as the farmer, am telling it to do, you would call what? Stubborn, or give me a Bible word for that. Disobedient?
But it's being dragged right along.
Stiff-necked. Stiff-necked. Stiff-necked.
That he was talking about the Jews then. I don't know.
An animal that wears the yoke, but still ignores the headship of the farmer trying to drive the implement still is not helpful to the farmer. That's very important. We can put on Christ's yoke and not go in the direction that he wants to go and not help him at all. You see people do it all the time. I'm gonna torture myself, for lack of a better term, and I'm gonna show up at the prayer meeting at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna do this at the breakfast thing, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna give, and I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna do all this stuff. But still, are you really helping accomplish what the farmer wants to accomplish if you're not doing what he says, when he says to do it, how he says to do it? Does all your activity count for anything if you're still not listening to him? You put on the yoke, yay, but now you're arguing with him about which way you're supposed to go. And he can't go there either because you're connected to him. That's how you get stiff-necked. The animal is not responsible for the placement or the direction of the plow. In this case, you're the animal. You're not responsible for the placement of the plow or the direction that the plow needs to go. All you're responsible for is to pull the plow in whatever way he wants to go. So many times we mess this whole thing up because we want to decide where we're going. Okay, I'm plugged into this thing. I want to go over here. We're going this way. Well, I'm sorry, as the farmer, I want to go right here. So if you're going this way, we have a problem. You're not helping me get to where I want to go. In fact, you're in the way now. So what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to start cutting this yoke. I'm going to have to start separating this yoke until I can get you back in line to go where I'm wanting you to go. He won't do it harshly. And what really happened there? You didn't want to wear the yoke. So you took the yoke off. I'm not going that way. Fool with that. Okay, fine. Do your own thing. And when your soul gets worn out trying to figure it all out and fix it all and do it all yourself, when you come back to me, at some point, hopefully you'll choose, do it my way to experience this rest, to experience my grace in the coupling and not you trying to do it on its own. Jeremiah 17:23. They would not listen and obey and control their behavior, but they were stiff-necked in order to not hear and take instruction. Yet they would not listen or obey or incline their ears, but they stiffened their necks that they might not hear and might not receive instruction. But they did not listen to me and did not obey me. They refused to accept the rules that I gave them. When I warned them, they wouldn't change. Have you ever met people like that? Have you ever, without showing your hand, have you ever been people like that? Okay, I didn't need an affirmative there, but most of us have been. Sadly, most of us still are in many areas. Hopefully those areas are getting fewer and fewer. But the idea is God's always speaking. He's always trying to direct. He's always trying to give you advice about which way to do this. Hey, as he's looking next to you, let's go this way. Let's go this way. No, I don't want to go that way. We should go this way. Come on, let's go this way. Oh no, I know better. Oh no, I don't want to do that. What are you making your decision upon? What's ruling? Your own soul has its own desires, its own wishes, its own things it's trying to accomplish, and it's going in a different direction. Do these people that have said no, are they headed in a right direction? Are they headed to the soul spa? Are they headed towards rest? Are they headed towards refreshing? What are they headed toward? Something bad is probably about to happen to them. What is headed towards them? The EXP. But your ancestors probably did not listen or pay attention, incline their ear to me. They were very stubborn, stiffened their necks, and did not listen. I punished them, but it didn't do any good. They did not take instruction and discipline. How did he punish them? Exiled. They let them be captured. They let them be conquered multiple times. And the cycle was, okay, God let them be, he warned them, if you don't change, this is going to happen to you. He let such and such group come in and conquer them. And then, oh, well, we don't like this either. So they started praying and, okay, God, I will relent. I will get you out of that mess. So as soon as they got him out of that mess, oh, we have arrived again. I don't have to pay attention anymore. And the cycle repeats. And then the next 100 years, and the cycle repeats. And the next 100 years, and the cycle repeats. Look at the book of Judges. How many judges were listed in there? And it was always a repeat of the same deal. Their enemies conquered them. And then God, they prayed. God raised up a judge. The judge delivered them, set things back basically in order and better back right. And then as soon as that judge influence was in history books, they repeated the same process over and over and over and over and over again. And we think, well, that was just dumb. Well, before you judge them, look at you. Look at me. How many times have you done the same thing?
They want some. They submit themselves to God. They want to prove their full oath to God.
They never did, as you know. They paid no attention to what I said and went about their own business, refusing to be guided or instructed by me. What is that saying? They refused to be guided or instructed by me. What's that talking about? Exalted soul. They wanted their own way. They wanted their soul to be in charge. Refusing to put their soul down, to put their soul to death, to put their soul in an inferior or a supportive or a responsive position. It always had to be in control. Your ancestors did not obey me or pay attention to me. They were impossible to deal with and would not listen or accept discipline. Now, when God looks at me, I do not want him to say about me, he's impossible to deal with. I don't really think that you want him saying that about you either. Who gets to choose whether I'm impossible to deal with or not? I do. You get to choose that for yourself. Yes.
Want to deal with it? You don't.
And what is out of control? It's pride, it's arrogance, it's all, but it's all in the soul.
Yeah.
The soul has gone nuts. It is
So one track minded in their way. of
Correct.
doing Things, any amount of, something, not constructive criticism, that you offer, they will absolutely not take because they are right in their mind. And, I believe I've been that way. I got this. No, I don't got this.
They're worshiping, they're just worshiping themselves.
right. They are exalted. Take my yoke. Exalt something. You're going to exalt this yoke, or you're going to exalt whatever yoke, whatever bondage you have already going on in your own head. The voice. But even then, they didn't listen to or pay attention to me. Instead, they stiffened their neck. They stiffened their resolve to not listen or accept any instruction from me. Now, what are they stiffening? I am purposing to not listen to you. I am making a decision. I am not listening to you. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say about that, but I've done it. Unfortunately, I have done it. I'm not immune from it. I'm hoping that I'm doing it less and less frequently and less significantly each time, but it still happens occasionally. Have I ever really seen what it is I'm actually doing? Stiffening my, oh, bless God, there is no way I'm doing that. And God says, okay, fine. Have at it. You don't get to come to the soul spa today or tomorrow or until you get this attitude fixed. The price of admission is that attitude's got to die.
That gives more concrete weight on being focused on God. If you're not focused on God, that pride just gets bigger and bigger. And it seems like when we're focused on God, that humility is there.
Right.
But then it goes away. It's up and down.
All of these things have in common is a decision that Suhei made about receiving or rejecting God's guidance. Does any of this sound like soul rest or soul refreshing? Once you make that decision, what happens next? Now you have to deal with that decision. Okay, now I'm in this, now I'm driving. All right, now I get all the stress. Now I get all the concern. Now I get all the pressure. Now I get all the weight of all the decisions I have to make today. And the responsibility for all the stuff happening or not happening today. It's all now on my shoulders. Does that sound like a rest? Or did you just bury yourself under more stuff? Consider another image that makes the same point. What about the difference between a child that's weaned versus one that's not? There's very little you can do with a child that's not yet weaned when it gets hungry other than feed it. Now, you mothers and parents that have gone through that know what I'm talking about. That child isn't weaned yet and they get hungry, all bets are off and there's not a lot you can do except feed that child the thing that it wants. The Bible talks about that too. Psalm 131 verses 1 and 2. Lord, my heart is not proud, nor my eyes haughty, nor do I involve myself in great matters or in things too difficult for me. Surely I have calmed and quieted my soul. Like a weaned child resting with his mother, my soul is like a weaned child within me, composed and freed from discontent, ceased from fretting. There we go back. The imagery is of a rest, of a calm, of a stillness, of a refreshing, rather than you throwing a temper tantrum. And what was the difference? My soul is calm. My soul is at peace. My soul is at rest. My soul isn't screaming. My soul isn't hollering, wanting its own way, demanding its own way, trying to get my attention. My soul is not running the show. A weaned child can say, I can understand the idea of mama's going to be home in a little while and then we'll feed you. An unweaned child, you might as well not even have that discussion. It's pointless. So when you carry yourself, which camp are you in? Do you have temper tantrums with God because you're not getting your way? If so, what does that say? My soul is not at peace. My soul is not at rest. My soul is not weaned yet from demanding attention, from demanding being coddled, from demanding affection, from demanding sustenance, from demanding whatever. Fill in the blank. Notice the first part of this. My heart is not proud, nor my eyes haughty, nor do I involve myself in great matters or in things too difficult for me. What does that sound like? Is this person proud? Is this person arrogant? Is this person condescending? Is this person believe that they're better than anybody else? All those are soul things. He's got his soul calmed. He's got his soul in a place where it is stable, where it doesn't fly off the handle, where it's still in control, in peace, not just desiring its own stuff in its own way. I'm not conceited, Lord, and I don't waste my time on impossible schemes, but I have learned to feel safe and satisfied like a young child in his mother's arms. And how did he do that? By learning how to quiet my soul, by learning how to make sure that it's not running the operations of my life. Jehovah, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters and in things too wonderful for me. Surely I have restrained and composed my soul like a weaned child with its mother, my soul within me as a weaned child. I have restrained and composed my soul. Who did that? Did God do that for you? So what's the whole point of this yoke thing? It's a tool to help you do it. It's the fitting, useful tool to help you get to this place. The place is restraining and composing my soul. I refuse to allow it to have a fit. I refuse to allow it to get out of control. I refuse to allow it to break down, to go nuts when it doesn't go its way. Lord, I'm not proud. I do not think that I am a great person. I do not try to do great things. Now, is this saying you've got to abase yourself? What's this saying? I do not think I'm a great person. I do not worry about doing great things. I have no ambition in life. Is that what it's saying? What's it saying?
Pride.
It's pride.
Yeah.
I'm not going to set my soul to try and figure something out just to say that I figured it out. I'm not going to waste my time trying to do this just to prove that I can. If I'm supposed to do it, if I have an interest in doing that, great, God will help me. He'll help me understand it. He'll show it to me. But just to figure it out because I want to figure it out, who gets the glory for that? Right. I do not worry about things that are too hard for me to understand. Instead of doing all those things, I'm quiet and there's peace in my mind. I'm like a young child who sits on his mother's knee. Yes, I have peace in my mind. We're talking about the admission to the soul spa. The place where that soul is at peace, that soul is being refreshed, that soul is being renewed. What's the admission price? Get it under control. Submitting to somebody else's leadership, somebody else's guidance, somebody else's opinion, somebody else's direction. Lord, my heart has not become haughty, nor my eyes lofty, neither are I walked in grandeur, nor in wonderful things above and beyond that which pertains to me. Rather, I have quieted myself and caused my soul to become silent, that I might be as a child that is weaned of his mother, as one who is weaned from my own life. Wow. I become as somebody that's been weaned from my own life. What's that saying? My desires are not reigning. My desires are not ruling. The things that I want to do aren't the things that are happening. I'm in submission to somebody else. I'm under somebody else's authority. I'm under somebody else's direction. Lord, I'm not proud or haughty. I don't think myself better than others. Have you ever met people that think they're better than others for whatever reason? What does that mean? They're stuck up. Okay. But what does it say about them internally? Pride. There's a soul issue. There's something that they haven't addressed yet in their soul, if they even have that opinion. I don't pretend to know it all. I'm quiet now before the Lord, just as a child weaned from the breast. Yes, my begging has been stilled. My begging has been stilled. Have you ever noticed in your children, especially if you got multiple children, one of them is still in the weaning process and the other one has been weaned, how differently they respond? God looks at us the same way. Okay, are they still begging all the time about this? Or have they reached such a point of maturity and such a point in a relationship with me that they just know I'm going to take care of this? Do they trust me or do they not trust me? Are they trying to figure it out themselves or are they letting me figure it out? God, I'm not trying to rule the roost. I don't want to be king of the mountain. I haven't meddled where I have no business or fantasized grandiose plans. I've kept my feet on the ground. I've cultivated a quiet heart. Like a baby content in its mother's arms, my soul is a baby content. O eternal one, my heart is not occupied with proud thoughts. My eyes do not look down on others. I don't even begin to get involved in matters too big, matters of faith, state, business, or the many things that defy my ability to understand them. Okay, is he saying I don't have any role in business? Is he saying I don't have any role in discussing of religion, or I don't have any role in discussing of the state, government? Is that what he's saying here? He's saying that's not my preoccupation. That's not where I spend the majority of my thoughts. That's not where I spend the majority of my time. That does not direct me. That does not control me. That does not influence me. Can I speak about it? Sure. Do I get my instructions from any of those things? Absolutely not. Do I get my marching orders from any of those things? Absolutely not. Now, God, if you want me involved in them, great. Tell me what I'm doing. But you're still in charge. Not me, not them. One thing I'm certain, my soul has become calm, quiet, and contented in you. Like a weaned child resting upon his mother, I'm quiet. My soul is like this weaned child. Doesn't that sound inviting? My soul has become calm, quiet, and contained. He's visiting the soul spa. He paid the admission price. Lord, my heart is meek before you. I don't consider myself better than others. I'm content not to pursue matters that are over my head, such as complex mysteries and wonders that I'm not yet ready to understand. I'm humbled and quieted in your presence. I'm humbled and quieted in your presence. So he gives us a key there. How do I get my soul content? How do I get my soul quiet? I get in your presence. It goes back to where we started. Fix your mind on him, and then I get the peace. I'm humbled and quiet in your presence like a contented child who rests on his mother's lap. I'm your resting child, and my soul is content in you. So we read multiple verses that all say the same thing. And the point of the whole matter is, once you become a believer, you have an opportunity of yoking yourself with Jesus. It's your choice. But once you connect, once you choose to yoke, what you're saying is, I submit my will, I submit my thoughts, I submit my ideas, my concerns to you. I'm going to do what you say, when you say to do it, how you say to do it, and I'm not going to worry about anything else. And in that process, my soul is going to be at peace. My soul is going to experience ongoing, continual rest and refreshing because I refuse to give it a platform. I refuse to let it be the loudest thing on the microphone. I refuse to let it be the thing that, what the squeaky wheel gets the grease, what they say.
Yeah.
My soul is not going to be the squeaky wheel. My soul is not going to be the thing enamoring for attention or for somebody to pacify it, for somebody to, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to let my soul have that much power. I refuse to put myself in that situation. My soul is going to submit to the tool that you've given me for killing it, which is your instruction, which is your presence, which is doing it your way. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to observe what you do. I'm going to handle it the way that you handled it. And together we're going to get this thing done. Admission to the soul spa. Do you want to go or not? If so, there's a price. I'm just going to tell you up front, there is a price. You can pay the price or you cannot pay the price, but I would say that the benefits are worth it if you choose to go and if you choose to stay there. This isn't just a one-time excursion. It's not a one-time visit. It's something that you've got to do over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, but that means I got to keep paying the price. Yeah, you got it. Daily, pay that price. Spend that time at the cross, letting this thing die so that you can also spend your time at the tomb where there's power and victory and life.